Spicy mouth Russ.
Yes.
Spicy mouth, yeah.
Awesome. Time now for stories to start your morning. The Warriors fell to the Blazers 129-107. But the headline out of this one was Steve Kerr's ejection. Golden State's head coach tossed after slamming his clipboard, protesting a flagrant foul call on Draymond Green with under 4 minutes to go. Nick, what'd you make of this?
All right, it was an egregious foul call, and if the Warriors were going to come back, they were down 7 prior to this. They were down 15 the next time they touched the ball.
It's hard to imagine.
It ended up being an 8-point possession for the Blazers. But I think Kerr was trying to take one for the team to a degree. Because I think Draymond was going to lose his mind because it was such a bad call, and he had already been testy throughout the fourth quarter. So I think Steve Kerr fell on that grenade. And by the way, Kerr does this about once a year. But once a year, he throws a tantrum. Now, this is you're going to get thrown out. You throw the clipboard that close to the refs. But I think there was a little method to his madness there.
Yes, he's going to do this. It's like the old high school coach comes into the locker room. The coach that normally sits by the chalkboard, he tells him, hey, I need you to move over. Then he gets a chair and throws it through it like WWE. Yeah, this was one of those moments. He was trying to motivate his team. They couldn't recover from it, though.
All right, to the big news out of the NFL now. The Broncos are trading for Joe Flacco, which means Case Keenum is the odd man out. Denver is reportedly shopping their big free agent acquisition from last offseason. Cris, can Case Keenum help a team in need of a quarterback?
No. No, I mean, Case Keenum, and I told you, Jenna, that Case is the kind of guy that you're going to date him and everything, but you're always going to be in transition. There's always going to be somebody taller, someone cuter, someone making more money, but he'll give you a case of the cases. Like, you'll be excited for like 6 months, 3 months. He'll go through a hot streak and everything. You'll be like, realize you wake up, you got still undersized quarterback, doesn't have a big arm. You're going to have to manage the game.
This dating analogy's always been tough for Jenna because Case Keenum is the prototype for the guys in her history. Just a mediocre white dude. And so this is what he is. He's a mediocre quarterback. I mean, maybe he'll be a starter for a bad team. Probably not. Sorry, Jenna.
Look how far I've come.
Absolutely. No, listen, you are thriving now.
Yeah.
Thriving.
Jenna's
the ways to get there.
Jenna's at the same spot, sitting right next to a mediocre white guy.
Oh, you know what?
Finally, I set you up for that.
Neither of those things is true.
Finally, the most debated quarterback coming out of the draft this year will be Kyler Murray. I don't have all the words down. Murray announced he was choosing football over baseball last week. Now, despite his rising draft stock, many have doubted his ability to thrive due to his diminutive stature. His new agent, Eric Burkhart, had a message for those doubters yesterday. Take a listen.
Kyler is not some little shrimp they're making him out to be. I see people have him at 178, 180 pounds. This kid weighs 205 yesterday. This kid is jacked the F up. These days and age of these old NFL dinosaurs and scouts that sit back and talk about what players can't do. Oh, he can't do that. He's not this. He's not that. Those are the losers. I mean, sorry, that's what it is. If you want all your requirements and all of that, that's not what the NFL game is today.
Agent's fired up. Nick, CC, what do you make of what Kyler's agent had to say?
Well, for one, the agent's trying to do his best job as far as trying to sell his client on the NFL. But for one, just take a little bass out your voice, all right? just relax just a little bit. I understand you weighed him and everything. I weighed myself, too. I'm 217 this morning. Come get some if you want to, all right?
Because everyone's asking.
Yeah, but the truth of the matter is, this is what our job is. And when he was he's represented a number of different players, but when he had Johnny Manziel, and people were trying to say Johnny Manziel was a first-round pick and got him into the first round, when typically, when you look at Johnny Manziel, the lack of a body type. Now, Kyler's a better athlete, and his body is more together. He's in the weight room more than Johnny Manziel. He might be a little bit shorter than Johnny, but Johnny had serious character flaws off the field that people didn't necessarily tell the whole truth about it. What was his work ethic at Texas A&M? Was he privileged? Did he think that he was entitled? Was he that kind of kid? All those things were out there about Johnny Manziel. What did the agent say then? Got him into the first round because he wasn't a first-round pick. He should have been a second-round pick. But that was okay for the agent then. So now we're trying to do our job. And, Nick, you know my job is a little bit different than normal analysts. My job is not to try to kill these kids. But the truth of the matter, the kid is coming around at a special time in the NFL. Now, he is a special player. But the only way I can really correlate this, and Nick, you taught me something last year when the guard for the Atlanta Hawks,
Trae Young
from Oklahoma.
Yep.
Nick was like, man, this kid's going to be special in the league. I said, man, he's too small. Nick, they're going to bounce him around. But if you look in the NBA,
it's the perfect time for Trae Young to come into the league.
Absolutely. Perfect. And the reason why, there was a model, and the model was Steph Curry. But the real thing, Nick talks about, well, sometimes there's baked-in things that help these things occur. The rule changes. Steph Curry couldn't be the player he is today in the 80s. In the 90s, but he came into the NBA at the right time. Yep. Now, I'm not trying to take anything away from his shooting ability, his dribbling ability, his finishing at the rim. Has he gotten bigger and stronger than I ever thought? Absolutely. But with the rule changes, that's the reason why the Hawks can draft Trae. And the reason why now with Kyler, he can be, because we've seen Russell. We saw Baker last year. We've seen Drew Brees the last 15 years dominate pro football. So he's fortunate. The timing with the rule changes, they're going to help him out. And that's the reason why I believe that it's the time for a guy 5'10" going to play quarterback at NFL.
If there was ever a time, it would have to be now. And the rule changes, I think, give Kyler Murray the only chance he would have in NFL history to survive. But that's different than to thrive. And if I'm spending a top 10 pick on a guy, I need to believe if I were running a team, my top 10 pick, when I know not only the value of the other players I could pick, but the value other teams would assign to that, and the draft capital I could recoup by trading out of that spot, it can't be this would be the one-off.
Nick, I got a question for you.
Be the first guy to do it, yeah.
I'm going to take him through the regular season. I'm going to put Kyler in the same position Lamar Jackson was last year. Mm-hmm. If he's in the playoff game against the Chargers, do they have a better chance to win that game, Baltimore being the same team with Kyler as the quarterback or with Lamar Jackson?
They have a better chance. They have a better chance with Kyler than with Lamar in that specific circumstance. I totally agree. And which is also one of the reasons why, while I thought it was absurd that Lamar, they were telling him to change positions and they were acting like he might be a mid-round pick, I wasn't on television, and I'm not saying you were either, saying he's a guaranteed bona fide first rounder. I thought Lamar went about where he should have, the very end of the first round. And the conversation surrounding Kyler was he's going to go somewhere between 25 to 40. I would have less of a problem with it then.
Right. What about 12 to 25?
So that to me would be reasonable.
Okay.
But I heard the day he announced it, right, and there's been bandied about, could he go 1? Like, the general consensus seems to be he won't be there at 13 for Miami. And so now we're talking about a top 10 pick. And then I also believe a lot of the things that are going on with Kyler Murray is it's a weak draft class. Like, would Kyler Murray have been a better prospect than Baker, than Darnold, than Rosen? Those guys, forget Josh Allen, who I thought was overdrafted because of his height. Like, this is where I think the agent's wrong. I think we have way overvalued the tall quarterback. Tall quarterbacks get chance after chance after chance. See Joe Flacco, see whomever you want. And the short quarterbacks usually get one chance only. But this is the shortest quarterback. And that's what concerns me.
Yeah, you make a great point when you're talking about no one's ever done it in anything. But I mean, forget about we're talking about trying to be a quarterback in the NFL. If you take any category, you have to have some type of resistance of, I've never seen it. It's never been done before.
Wouldn't have believed in Trae Young the way I did, even if he had the exact college career that he had, if I hadn't seen Steph. But if I hadn't seen
But if
Steph,
there was a time for him to succeed,
it has to be now.
We saw that with Lamar Jackson. They changed the system to make it work for him. Jeff Fisher's system wasn't working for Jared Goff. Sean McVay comes in, changes the system to make it work for Goff. Any team that takes him is going to have to make that system the way Bill Belichick does with these players that don't work elsewhere. He figures out what they do well and he makes it work for them. They're going to have to put together a system, regardless of his height, that works for Kyler Murray.
The one other thing that's going to be notable for him, and this would be the case no matter his height. Last year, he had the benefit of having the best offensive line in his sport. He had the best offensive line in college football. No matter which team takes him, it would be shocking if he goes to the best offensive line in the NFL. And if he goes in the top 10, it's almost a guarantee he's going to be going to a team with a below-average offensive line. So he's not going to have the escapability because the athletes are so much better, and he's not going to have the same level of protection compared to the opposition. That would concern me even if he were 6'2". and now we're talking about a guy who's 5'9.5". These are all the reasons that I just have reservations about it.
All right, time now for Nick's favorite part of the show. It's called Nick Makes a List. What? Russell Westbrook said that Paul George is his front runner for MVP, but where does he stand on your list, Nick?
All right, this is going to be one of our last NBA MVP lists. It's the pre-All-Star Game rankings. We'll do one more before the awards actually announced. Number 7.
That's official now.
That's official.
I mean, we have a press release.
Number
Our
7,
official second to last one.
Absolutely, it's important. Number 7, the Joker, Nikola Jokic. Listen, you can't deny how good his team's been, 39 wins. He's played in nearly every game this season. He's the best passing big man in the NBA.
You must be impressed with him, Nick, to have him on your list.
Because I thought he went from way underrated to very quickly slightly overrated, but the team's been good enough. I think he deserves to be right there at 7. Number 6, Kawhi Leonard. The only reason Kawhi is not higher, this will surprise people. Kawhi's only played 4 more games this year than LeBron James.
Yes.
And LeBron missed 6 weeks with an injury, but Kawhi's numbers.
The team did well when he was out.
Well without him. He's giving you 27 and 7. He's shooting 50% from the field. Kawhi's number 6. Number 5, your guy, your preseason pick, Joel Embiid. Joel, the team's been outstanding. He's played nearly every game this year. He's giving you 27, 14, and 4. He's been great.
Should be higher. He saved a weave last night in the Garden.
Okay,
every
fair
man
enough.
can do. That's like super.
That's a good point. Number 4, Steph Curry. This is another guy that would have an argument to be higher if he hadn't missed all that time. Only played 46 games, but we know how good Steph's been. And then your clear top 3. I disagree with Russ. I can't put Paul George yet higher than number 3. He's going to be first-team All-NBA. He's giving you. He's having career highs in every category. But the top 2 guys are having all-time years. But we got to switch in the top 2.
Okay.
Number 2 is James Harden. I know that the 37 points is remarkable. The streak is remarkable. But this is an award that historically, the Russell Westbrook year notwithstanding, you've got to be a 50-plus win team. The Rockets, I don't think they're going to get to 50-plus wins.
Yes.
This guy's team, I know will. Right now, the best player in the NBA, his name is Giannis. He's giving you 27, 13, and 6. He don't even need a last name on the list. We all know who he is. Number 1 defense in the NBA, top 4 offense in the NBA. He's playing both ends of the court brilliantly for the team with the best record. Going to the All-Star break, Giannis is your league MVP.
Impressive list. I like it.
Harden. My folks in Houston are mad at me.
Paul George first in steals, second in deflections. Could be defensive MVP. Yeah, I like it.
The top 3, it's going to be hard to crack for any of those guys beneath them. And, I mean, talking about a press release, you saw his name's not on there? Hurts my heart, see? LeBron.
No, you'll be okay.
I can't even fit him in there.
Got an issue, get a tissue. You'll be okay. We're talking about the best, man.
If it was a normal top 10 list, maybe LeBron's
Well, it'd be number 1, but he's missed some time. His team's below 500. We'll talk about it another time.
Much more.
Top 10 list.
On the MVP race.
I know. That's why he's not on there. That's why he's not on there. Breaks my heart.